Okay, continuing the watercolor pencil comparison, I'm adding 5 more brands to the mix. The first up here is Sargent Art pencils, located in Pennsylvania, manufactured in Thailand. This is a set of 24 that I picked up for about $4.50. They are round, easy to sharpen. The barrel is the color of the pigment, and there is a name on each pencil of the color as well, making them easy to identify. And next up we have Brevillier's, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Cretacolor watercolor pencils. These are from Vienna. The company is located in Austria. I'm assuming that's where they make the pencils as well. These are unlabeled, so we don't know what the colors are other than the color of the pencil barrel. They're hexagonal in shape, and they go on fairly easy. This set of 24 can be found online for about $20, brand new. Cretacolor also makes other watercolor pencils. The other two lines that I've seen are the Monolith and the Merino watercolor pencils, though I'm not sure what the differences are. And the next brand I'll be adding is Faber Castell's Albrecht Durer pencils. These are hexagonal pencils, 24 in a tin that you see here. Set like this goes for just under $40, brand new. The pencils colored barrels to match the pigment, and each pencil has the color name in English and in German, as well as a color code. And in addition, it includes a little pamphlet that gives you a little history on the company, what their tradition is, where they're located, other products that they sell, and basically how to get the best use out of their pencils. And the next on the list we have by Staedtler, the Ergosoft Aquarelles. This is a 24 color set, and it comes with a folding case that doubles as a stand. The pencils themselves are triangular, and they feel pretty comfortable in the hand to use. I guess they're your Ergosoft soft touch pencils. The tips are colored to match the pigments, although the barrels are blue. There is no color name on the barrels, although there is a color code. These pencils draw very smoothly, and they're protected by what another brand also had, is this ABS or anti-brake system, which is a lead protection system that basically prevents the pigment centers from breaking out, as some of the cheaper brands or lesser quality brands seem to do, breaking out of their little center tubes. And the last set we're going to be adding is another Staedtler product called the Karat pencils. These are, I believe, an older type of pencil. The code number printed on each pencil is 124, as opposed to the newer ones that they sell, which are 125. I don't have a reason for what the differences are, but I hope to find out. These are hexagonal. The barrels are the same color as the pigment, and there are no color names, just the color code on each of the pencils. Brand new, the Ergosofts go for about $25 for a set of 24, and the Karats go for about $32, I think is the cheapest I've seen. Staedtler pencils are made in Germany. Okay, for this comparison, I have 15 watercolor pencils that we're going to be comparing. And the test is nothing more than to see how Well, it's comprised of two parts. The first part are the triangles, which are basically more or less solid blocks of the watercolor pigment drawn out. And what I'm doing is making little pools out of them, which I will connect to the adjacent colors just to see how well they blend, how well the pigments run on their own. The table is not tilted this time, so there shouldn't be any gravity pulling the water from one end to the other. It's just curiosity just to see how these pigments behave on their own. And as you may have noticed, the primary colors being used here are not exact from brand to brand. Some are different variations of blue or red or yellow, but just for the sake of showing how well they blend, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Okay, the second part below the triangles are some scribbled lines, and they were done using the edge of the pencil. And basically what I want to do is see how well the pigments dissolve, and basically to see if they leave any kind of marking behind. I did notice in the first test that some pencils over others would leave marks behind, whereas other pencils would just dissolve completely. So this is nothing more than just to see how well each of these secondary colors dissolve, and to see if there's any markings left behind. Okay, another difference that I'm doing this time that I didn't do on the first test is the watercolor paper I'm using. It's the same manufacturer, which is Canson, and it's Montval paper, 140-pound cold press. Same as before, but this time I'm using a block. Block is basically a pad, but instead of having glue on one side, it has glue on all four sides, so it keeps the paper nice and flat and prevents it from curling up when it gets wet. And when it dries, it dries flat. It goes back down to normal. So you see little bumps here, like in the Derwent orange. You see a little bit of a bend in the paper. That should dry out and become flat again. As I'm working through these colors, there is one brand that stuck out to me, but not in a pleasant way. It was actually the Sargent pencils, the Sargent Arts. The pigments are very weak, and they do not activate well with water. They compare to the original Royal and Langnickel pencils that I had tested in my earlier test, not the newer Royal and Langnickels, because they appeared to be much improved. But the Sargents I will be excluding from future tests. Okay, now we're just about finished with this test, and we're going to let this dry, which you see here. And we're going to zoom in on each of these. And you'll notice that some pencil lines did not completely dissolve, and that may be preferable for you. You may not want those lines to disappear. This is all going to be something that you should decide what you want in your watercolor pencils. Maybe you want to get some that do, and maybe you want to get some that don't, because you may like that effect or not. Additionally, some of these paints dried with hard lines around the edges. Some are more noticeable than others. Again, you may like that effect, and then again you may not. Again, this is your own decision that you'll have to decide what you want out of your watercolor pencils. Okay, we'll give you one final photograph. You notice the blue color here. Unfortunately, that video was shot in the evening with artificial lighting. This is done with a flash, so this should give you a better idea of what the true colors look like. Okay, my next video will likely add another brand or two, and it will be focused on transparency versus opaqueness in each of the brands. So look forward to doing that video and getting it out to you. Thanks for watching.